Hi everyone, it's April 21st, 2024, and I'm being inspired to share some things with you. One is what really happened on the eclipse, before, during, and after, I should say. And also to share some just incredible miracles that have occurred since arriving in Florida. So, was the eclipse a nothing burger? I hope it was. I hope it was. And it appeared to be. But honestly, let me just start with this. This was our skies on April 8th, the morning of. I went to meet a friend and we couldn't get over. This was 360 degrees around. Just total messing with our skies. And this was 4 days before the eclipse. I can't believe people still think this is normal. And in the description, I will include something that will just even more proof, as if there isn't enough, because some people, it'll never be enough. Believe me, when I heard about this in 2000, in the year 2000, 24 years ago, I didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. I just, no, they couldn't do that to us, no. But, oh my gosh, so much research since, and all you have to do is look up and use common sense. This is not normal. Anyways, so this has been going on, not just the path of totality, where that line was, but and all over the country and world. You know, it's been heavy duty like never before. So we have to be aware of that and keep that in mind, okay? So on the day of the eclipse, then I did just a lot of prayer work, channeling light, calling for the light all over the country that was particularly targeted, and the world. Now, I am among millions doing the same, spending hours with the light, you know, just spreading the light and thinking light to counter what could have been going on, okay? How do we know that that didn't impact, right? We must know that our efforts being in the light is making a difference, always, 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 you know, and I believe it made a difference that day. But I'm also very concerned about what the effects of, and I mentioned in the last video, of the spraying, you know. Do you really think that after what happened in 2020, that they're not going to take advantage of all these people outside? And we were pummeled with the spraying. We can't let them do this again to us. We have to question, we have to take precautions, but while not in fear. No fear, just take precautions. And that's why I said I would stay indoors. And I did. After I, you know, that morning, I said prayers, I sent light, prayed for light, channeled light, talked to God about it, everything. I spent the rest of the day inside, and I just was focused on the light, like millions of you that were doing the same, and I know that it made a difference. It always does when we focus on the light, when we connect to God, pray, all of it, you know. So let's take a look back at 2020 as a reminder of what they got away with and what they did to our children. and much worse, much, much, much worse, to with these things, to as young as 6 months old. The truth is out. Many people are now regretting this choice. And again, I say, you can talk to God about it. God can do anything. God can do anything. This is all growing our connection. All these things are causing a growth of our connection to God for many of us. I really don't know how you go through all of this without God. We can't. We need God. We need divine intervention, but it takes us awakening to truth, owning it, and walking with God through this. The more that are awakened, the sooner things will shift for us all. And it's happening. I mean, people are awakening. But countering that is extreme darkness. And the darkness does work through people knowingly and unknowingly to cause havoc. It happens to all of us. It's just reality. That's why I talked about it in that one video. The whispers can be of benevolence or they can be of the opposite. We can be messed with. So if we're aware of that, then we can say, you know, that's not me. I wouldn't think that, or I wouldn't do that, or, you know. So once we're aware and we walk close with God, those situations don't present themselves like they may have in the past. But again, God can do anything. So I want to share this one beautiful story of prayer. It was back in December and a few days before Christmas. And my friend, who's very dear to me and carries so much light, had been suffering with a chronic issue for a dozen years. And it's something I prayed for her many times. But on this one day, it was in the wee hours of the night, a few days before Christmas, and I was thinking about her and just saying a really fervent, heartfelt prayer to God. And as soon as the prayer was complete, there was this sound that was so loud, like it sounded like there were a bunch of pans on heavy pans on a shelf, and it just collapsed, like, you know. And so it's in the wee hours, like what would cause that? I go running to the kitchen, check the cabinetry, everything. There's no reason for that sound. But I, immediately then realized that that was some kind of confirmation that something happened, and I believe very positive, right? It got my attention, right? So, and God, God, our Archangel Michael, the angels, they can all make sounds occur. I've shared this many times in the past, so that we don't hear them or there's no reason behind it, but they can make the sound to give us a message, right? Or to confirm or validate. Anyway, so I come to find out that my friend on Christmas Day, she said it was her best day. And ever since, she's been normal. I prayed for instantaneous and supernatural healing. And I highly recommend that you do the same. I just still can't get over it. It makes me so happy. It's not like God always hears our prayers, but doesn't necessarily respond in the way we wish. That was just a total miracle. But, it could be because if we're praying for someone else, it could be free will, that God, it's not time or it's their free will. They don't want to see the light or the truth, whatever. And you just have to accept that. But that doesn't stop me from praying every day. Like, never, it'll never stop me. And also, you know, like for myself, you know, I've shared some instantaneous supernatural healings in my life post prayer. But then there's several times where I don't see any change. I don't see a shift, but there's always a reason. For instance, I really put my body through a lot with this move, you know, all the moving and then moving into storage. And then, I mean, of course I had movers, but it's still packing and moving boxes and all that. And it really took a toll on me. Like I've been having a hard time moving, and I pray on it. I have so much to do. And, I was just like, God, please help me feel better, and da 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 da, supernatural, instantaneous, but I am getting a little better, but it served me because the message I got was once you get in to the house, and it was 2 days before the eclipse, which is what I prayed for, and I knew that I was meant to be in before the eclipse, that once I get in to rest as much as I can, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and that's what I've been doing every day. Like I still walk, I still move because I don't want to get my muscles to be tighter. I want to keep them moving, but then I rest and rest and rest more than I have in I don't know how long. And so it was serving me. So God did answer my prayers, but just not in the way I expected. So our faith is everything. Just trusting that God obviously sees everything, knows everything, and knows what's best for us, and I always trust that even when, it's difficult. So about my return to Florida, I realized over time, part of the reason why it was so, there was many reasons it was difficult for me to leave here, but a big part was because I felt ripped away from that vortex. I've talked about the vortex here that I felt as soon as I got here. There's some kind of vortex because magical things are happening synchronistically, the meetings, it's very powerful. And I didn't ever want to leave, And, here I'm coming back to this vortex, and it felt like I never left. But it's interesting because my friends here, a few dear friends, and actually one in Colorado too, said that I will be returning, like do what you need to do kind of thing, but you're coming back. And I'm like, it just felt so selfish. And I was literally like pushing away those thoughts. Like I just felt selfish. I want to do God's will and go where I'm needed. But it turns out I am needed here. It was shown to me in incredible ways, in which I will share. But like this one friend was like, don't you remember when I said to you, like, that you're coming back and your energy never left. It's like you're still here. It's like you belong here. And Flagler Beach isn't done with you. You're not done with Flagler Beach. And I'm like, really? Like, I would remember something like that. But I think, again, I was pushing that away because I didn't feel like if God took me away from here to do the work I needed to do, like, really, I'm coming back and all that effort. I know it sounds wild, but wait till you hear. So I want to share my experiences with Christ since 2001 and how it brought me to today, and being called here back to this area. If you saw my video, I think it's called We Will Be Saved, and I was being called to the beach to go swimming, to get in the water. And once I was in the water, I just felt Christ's presence, and I requested that he rebaptize me. And I imagined him there, and I, put my head back and felt baptized. And what are the chances of this? That soon after I get caught in a riptide, and 5 lifeguards come and save me. This saving theme has been profound for me since 2001, that year I began channeling Archangel Michael, by the way. But early that year, on January 10th, was when I saved that Chihuahua. And I ran out of gas when I was close to the Big I, the biggest interchange in New Mexico. And when I was just made it to safety, this huge truck with Christ, a huge image of Christ on the cross drives by. Like, really? So the saving theme. And then I had just bought the book Saving Graces that morning, and like it was just this most profound. Then I saved this little dog, literally going into the road to save it. Like, it was just this amazing story, and I had signs for years about Chihuahuas and just appearing out of nowhere, and some very profound messages. I mean, to this day, I still have them. So that saving theme. And then there was the Titanic. I talk about, and I Can See Clearly Now, my first book on synchronicity, and how, even though the message was, it feels like we're on the Titanic and we're sinking, we will be saved, and I kept having signs with Molly Brown, the famous Titanic survivor. She was saved, right? So this has been going on in so many ways, and including this experience where I was saved, by these lifeguards right after feeling Christ's presence. So this has been going on, right? I know I'm forgetting things, but when I was on my way down here, when I drove the car down first, this time I wasn't going to stress myself with the car trailer. I just drove my car down, went back, packed, and moved with a U-Haul, drove a U-Haul down with my things. But when I was first taking that drive back to paradise, okay, it was the last 80 to 90 miles or so. I was suddenly wanting to listen to this music that I haven't heard since I was in Florida 6 months prior, because I don't know, it's just like really special music to me. I think it's called the miracle music. And it was just amazing. All of a sudden I felt to play it again. So I'm listening to it for a while, and then all of a sudden the car in front of me had like a decal of a saying from the Bible, Christ's words. And then at the same moment, right after seeing that, I looked to my right, and there's a billboard, and it's about Christ. And then I felt Christ, and I heard Christ, and I heard to put my hand up as if channeling light, sending it out, okay? And I had my arm on the armrest, and I was like this for the next hour and 20 minutes until I arrived at the pier at Flagler Beach. The whole time, my hand was being held, I believe, by Christ, and no question. And it was just the supernatural, beautiful experience. It was so emotional. And I was getting messages the whole time about being in Arkansas, and I'm now needing to return, and it just validating everything I felt and lived. And being told, like, just walk with me now, walk with me. It's all gonna be good, it'll all be okay. So, so I felt that whole period of time. And it was like I was being escorted home, with this amazing experience right to the pier. Honestly, it's been so magical. Like, I don't know if you remember, I think I put it in a video, but when I left New Mexico to in 2021 to come to Flagler Beach. I happened to look at the clock just as I'm driving away, and it's 11:11, and I arrived at the pier at 11:11. Anyways, and since I arrived here, I have had just incredible miracles, one after another. And it's often due to, I believe, being in that energy field of whatever, that vortex energy field that is just so incredibly beautiful and awe-inspiring. There is a connection between Florida and Arkansas, Arkansas with a crystalline structure underneath. And then this vortex that I was very aware of when I arrived, I would come to find that there's massive crystals underneath the epicenter of this vortex, up a mile to a mile and a half deep. And this is why decades and decades ago, people were coming from all around the world for healings here. Amazing, right? So, it's like I knew there was a vortex, and then, like I said in the last video, to this day, I still get validation that this is all real. I'll share a couple examples, but honestly, it's like every time I go there, something's happening that just blows my mind. But one day, so when I got here, I went back to this coffee shop that I love, and it's right smack in that vortex. And I just am always having amazing experiences. They're meeting incredible people, and it's all so beautiful. But this one day I was working, I get there early, like when they open at 6:30, it's still dark outside, and I'm working on my computer. And Michael said to go outside and work. So I went. They have a beautiful little outdoor patio, and I had my wired earphones, not earbuds, those wireless. Please, God, I want to cry every time I see, especially youth with those on. Not safe, not good for the brain. But anyways, I digress. So I went out there and I have my earphones in listening to some truth and material. And all of a sudden, Michael said, leave now, which I've shared the leave nows every time I listen, because every time something amazing happens, and this was like unforgettable. So I literally just took my right earphone off, and right then I hear, Archangel Michael, this lady says loudly. And she says to her, I turn around, she says to her friend, you have to listen to him. Like, oh my God. Got it. So I put my computer down. I go talk to these ladies. To make a long story short, we talked for over 2 hours. I was there about 5 hours that morning. And it was like validating everything, they've been called there. They know exactly what they need to do. They were talking about the extreme light there. They know about the vortex. Like, oh my gosh, it was unbelievable. And they also know about the darkness, like I do. Like there is definite darkness there that there's darkness everywhere that we're transmuting, but we've been called to that area. There's something about this area. It's not like I understand it all, but I get a general overall feeling and understanding about the need for lots of transmuting of darkness into light. Light there, and it is such a beautiful area. Like, I'm so honored and overjoyed to be in this area, and yet I've been called to the next town, somewhere I didn't ever expect to live. Okay, it's a whole different energy, but I mean, it's also beautiful. I have beautiful, incredible trees behind me right now, and but there's definite stuff going. As soon as you go over that bridge off the barrier island, it is different. Or just a little ways in, where this next town starts. It's incredible, and I've been noticing this for some time. So that was one miracle. So it was, dark again that morning, early morning, and I look outside and I see like the silhouette of four young men, okay, like just beyond the outdoor seating. They never came inside. They never sat down or anything. They're just standing there, like right in front. And I heard to go outside and introduce myself to them. And I'm like, okay, I mean, that seems kind of weird, but I always trust. And boy, I'm so glad I did. Wow. Because as I'm walking to them, and I just knew, and maybe Michael whispered it to me, but I just knew that they were missionaries. And it's not like they were carrying a Bible or anything. I just felt it, or Michael whispered it. And I go introduce myself, and they're just four lovely young men. And they told me how they're from Texas and they're here scoping out Flagler Beach because they're going to build a church here, and that Christ called them to this very location. Unbelievable. Christ called me here too, to this location. Christ called my friends that I met to this very location. And, so it's just unbelievable, like just so magical and so validating what is going on. So, but shortly thereafter, I happened to see this video on social media. As it turns out, it's the mission of these four men. It's all about how they were called to this little town of 5,000, Flagler Beach, Florida, because it is a place of such great light, but also of darkness. I mean, I was bawling like when I saw this video. I mean, what are the chances? I was guided to talk to these guys, and then I think it was just a couple days later, I see this video. And I'm going to put the link below so you can watch it. But I was just in tears, and every time I watch it, I'm in tears. But you guys know me, that I'm not religious, and I'm extremely spiritual, very connected to God and Christ, and of course Archangel Michael and the angelic kingdom. But I'm not, I don't go to church. My church is within. My church is in nature, I just am always connecting. It's just in a different way. And I've really worked on bridging the gap in recent years in Flagler Beach and in Arkansas, and now back here again, to bridge the gap between, non-churchgoers and churchgoers, to respect. We have to unify and respect each other's ways and not say one's right, one's wrong. Just respect and honor, and just be in that love of God. And that is our commonality. We need to unite now more than ever. So I just found this all so amazing. I was, one day I was looking for a home, again, very shortly after that, seeing that video. And I was looking at these, I was literally guided to this area, okay? And I was looking at these townhome rentals. I went to talk to the property manager. As soon as I saw her, I just like I felt a connection, and we talked to God right away. And, it was just like this simpatico feeling. And we're talking about the townhomes, and I swear I did not tell her about these guys or show her the video, nothing about it. She brings up, she says, I failed to tell you about these four young men that I met. They came here to potentially rent a townhome in a few months. And I took them on a tour, and they're missionaries. And it turns out they're going to build a church in Flagler Beach. Are you kidding? Like, And she said they did a laying on of hands on her body to help her heal something. And I said, I can't believe this. I told her my story and how I met them outside the coffee shop. And then I see that video and the tears are just rolling down, and then I'm crying, like it was just so beautiful. Like God is just so there, bringing us together and validating our work, our experiences. She has a lot of light work in her work, as a property manager. And it turned out so I'm like, gosh, I've been feeling like maybe I do need to be in this next town. And it is outrageous rent in Flagler Beach now, just in the 6 months I left. But even if it wasn't, I felt like I was needed to be like, am I supposed to be in a townhome too? And I was really close to doing that, but that wasn't feeling right. But like, what are the chances? Like they're in this next town, I'm in the next town. I ended up moving into a home in this next town. And I mean, what are the chances of all that? It was all guided. There's so much more I can share. It just goes on and on about how I was being guided to be here but visit Flagler Beach often, right? And God, I hate to say it because I'm so tired of moving. I just want to find a place, not rushing to find a place, but find a place I'm going to stay. But God has another plan in mind, and I always, always listen. But I'm in a beautiful space, but I'm also dealing with such darkness, which I'll get to in a minute. But basically, I've been called once again to light up the darkness, turn on the light, just keep turning on the light. And it reminds me very much of when I was on the Big Island, where I was just, again with where I was experiencing such challenges and really dark. I knew about before I went to the Big Island. I went there knowing that. And I was dealing with some real darkness, but yet juxtaposed with the amazing experiences of swimming with the wild spinner dolphins and my connections with the whales as well. And it's like, it just like balanced everything out. It kept me going. And the same here, like I'm dealing with something here, but it's balanced with just staying so high vibe, like going, especially when I go to Flagler Beach. Because to this day, like every day, it's something that just like really, wow, like we are moving into this new earth. That personally, my faith is 100% relentless that we are going to get past these absolutely insane times. So in 2018, when I wrote Michael's Sword in You and developed my spiritual army, in that book, I talked about how, the darkness hijacks spiritual symbols, numbers, sacred numbers, sacred geometry, divine locations across the world. Wherever there's light, there's darkness trying to bring it down. And one of the ways, they really try to get through the youth and young adults, especially through music. I mean, that's one of the things with their symbols, their dark symbols that, they have. And it all carries energy, and it all carries, like spells and curses. I'm sorry, but through the music, it's just the words, the lyrics. I mean, even those of us who love the music of the 70s, 80s, 90s, it's not like it wasn't in there too. But like the music now, I mean, a lot of the really popular music now, it's if we have to pay attention to it, we have to. And I'm in a situation where, I mean, it's unbelievable what is going on. I don't want to talk about it right now, but it is like I have to just bring the light, turn the light like on it like crazy. Like it's so shocking and frustrating, and yet it is temporary. I just keep hearing it's temporary. So we need to trust that we're all being called in different ways, totally different ways, but we need to trust that no matter what, if we follow God's guidance and walk close with Him, we'll be okay. I mean, we are in spiritual battle. God calls it spiritual battle. Archangel Michael calls it spiritual battle. And we will win. The light wins. Our heaven and earth is ahead, even though it doesn't seem like it. And it's not like someone's going to save us. God will save us. Christ will save us. Whatever higher power you believe in or what you call that higher power, I hope you feel the same. We will get through this. We're here for this. We just need to stay strong out of fear and fully in the light. Not afraid of the darkness, but addressing it by just turning on the light of awareness and truth on it all. Thank you.